The proud kid of the Bay Area of who we are in this region of the world, because we are always, I think, committed to seeing what is possible and then charting a course to get there. So thank you all very much. Today we are joined by members of our administration and leaders of this great state, including our Governor, Gavin Newsom, and Mayor of Oakland, Libby Schaaf. We are also joined, of course, by many of our private sector space partners.
Now, as gas prices dipped to just under the $4 mark for the first time in more than 4 months, good news for consumers who are struggling with high prices for many other essentials. AAA said the national average for a gallon of regular gas was $3.99. Prices have dropped 15 cents in the past week and 68 cents in the last month. The shopping app Gas Buddy reported the national average was already down to around $4 on Wednesday. The nationwide average for gas has been under $4 since March, and according to AAA, prices topped at around $5 a gallon on June 14th. Now, people driving in California and Hawaii are still paying above $5, and other states in the West are paying close to that. The lowest gas in Texas and several other states in the South and Midwest. A year ago, the nationwide average price was around $3.20. So high prices may also be causing U.S. people to drive less, and gas demand in early August was already down 3.3% from the last week. Folks, big news, President Biden is meeting with top lawmakers to discuss a new executive order that may be passed in just a few weeks. Millions of people can expect to receive extra stimulus checks very soon from the federal government, and lawmakers are discussing new requirements as well as income thresholds for this new round of relief. Across the country, states are providing stimulus checks since the federal government has failed to act, but the rules for getting this money can be more complicated. In fact, unlike the federal stimulus checks, which were broadly issued to most Americans, some payments coming from the states have more narrow eligibility rules, and eligibility residents may be needed to take additional steps to claim this money. In one state, for example, payments of up to $1,500 per person will be available soon, but only to those who work during the heart of the crisis. And those who are entitled to these payments must register. According to new reports, the state of Minnesota is offering relief bonuses to people who worked when the crisis was at its peak. A total of $500 million has been allocated, and the money is expected to be distributed to as many as 700,000 workers, including meatpacking professionals, janitors, and teachers. Eligible residents also must have not received more than the 20 weeks of unemployment benefits. Now, if you meet the criteria to receive this relief check, I suggest that you register to receive these bonus checks soon. Minnesota governor is also urging Republicans to return to sign off on sending $1,000 checks to people in Minnesota as the rising prices of gas, food, and everything else eats away at people's paychecks. The state is sitting on about a $7 billion budget surplus. Under Governor Walz's proposal,
among others, it is one of the most consequential bipartisan achievements of this Congress. It didn't come overnight. This has been a long time coming, but something that's so significant as this often takes a long time to come, particularly when it deals with the more arcane areas of science like quantum computing and artificial intelligence. Crucial that we stay the leading country in the world in those for our future, but not on the tip of everybody's tongue. It did, as I said, in 2019, I approached Senator Todd Young with a proposal that we called Endless Frontiers. And I said, let's work together, because I knew he cared about this. We had talked about it in the gym, about science and innovation. So we drafted the first iterations of of the policy that we're passing this week, the Endless Frontier Act. Later on, we joined with Senators Cornyn and Warner to push for the CHIPS Act as part of the NDAA to address the nation's growing chip shortage. And one of the tremendous leaders on that was Senator Kelly, who realized how important manufacturing chips in America was to the country, but also to his home state of Arizona. We all knew that America faced a choice. We could continue to underfund science and innovation, fall behind our competitors, chief among them the Chinese Communist Party, or we could tackle the challenges head-on, unleash the next wave of discovery and scientific achievement. I said to my caucus at lunch today, our grandchildren will be holding good, high-paying jobs in industries we can't even imagine because of what we are doing right now. Just as investments in DARPA and NSF created the internet and made America the tech leader in the world, just as investments in NIH created the the pharmaceutical industry, which is a leading industry in the world. This will happen because we're in 10 different areas many times over. So I really feel so passionately about this legislation. In February 2021, in the midst of the second Trump impeachment trial, I directed our chairs and members of the relevant committees to start pulling together a legislative package to outcompete China and create new American jobs, with Endless Frontier serving at its core. We made a commitment for both sides to work together. The Senate spent 3 weeks with lots of amendments, you may remember, because it was back in 2021, June of 2021, to pass the bill with overwhelming bipartisan.
Well, thank you. You know, I'm always talking with families in my home state of Washington about what matters to them, and that drives my focus here in this Washington. So what I'm focused on is fighting inflation and bringing down costs. We need to get products people need on our shelves, and we need to build an economy that leads the world in innovation, but that also leads to good-paying jobs for workers right here at home. Well, soon we're going to be voting on this bipartisan bill to make progress on these challenges by tackling the chip shortage, which is constricting supply chains for electronics, it is driving up costs, and it's even threatening our national security. Back in Washington State, we know a thing or two about manufacturing chips. We are one of the top 10 states when it comes to making semiconductors. And we also know how much it will cost our country in the years to come if we do not invest in keeping up with our global competitors. Not to mention how much the chip shortage is costing families right now through higher prices. A big part of the problem is that our nation's semiconductor manufacturing industry has been losing jobs to other countries. It is half the size it was in 2001. The legislation we are voting on today will help reverse that trend, so we not only protect the jobs of thousands of workers in Clark County and King County and across the country, but we also create new jobs by investing in semiconductor production, especially our small and medium-sized manufacturers and suppliers, and we stop these jobs from being lost to competitors overseas. And let's be clear, this is about cost too. This will be a big deal when it comes to getting supplies on the shelves and getting prices down and fighting inflation, because the chip shortage, it affects everything. We're talking about cell phones and kids' toys and medical devices and refrigerators and cars and a lot more, you name it. This is really, really important to our supply chain. Strengthening it is a common sense step we can make right now to bring down costs. Democrats are pressing forward with solutions, not sound bites, strengthening our supply chains, investing in American manufacturing, and lowering everyday costs for everyone. And we're going to stay focused on tackling inflation